Yeah, University of Virginia Teen and Young Adult Health Center. So I feel very comfortable in this crowd, less comfortable in this one. Teenage years, are the healthiest ones in our lifetime. There's some experimentation that goes on. There's nothing new about that. Mortality does happen infrequently, and mortality that happens during the teenage years is usually human error. So I want to use a pie chart done by my 15-year-old. So this is the pie chart showing mortality during adolescence. That black, which is almost 40%, is accidental, unintentional deaths. That's driving accidents, drinking and driving, diving into a swimming pool that's too shallow. You can see that's the majority of the deaths that happen during adolescence. The next category of deaths are suicides. The next category of deaths are homicides. This yellow are cancer deaths. 6% of deaths that occur during adolescence are due to cancer. But I want to compare that to deaths in your 40s, 40 to 44. So if you look at this pie chart, you see there's a big decline in unintentional deaths, accidental deaths. Cancer now is 3 times greater, so cancer deaths have started to really increase. Heart disease, suicide has really declined, and homicides have really declined. So when you look at these deaths in here, the cancer, the heart disease, we know those are due to behaviors that most likely happened during the teenage years. So even though it's a healthy period of time, adolescence, there is that risk associated with experimentation. So we have a lot of opportunities to really change the future of deaths in adulthood. So I'm going to talk about 3 things. The first thing I want to talk about is cigarette smoking. Some of the things I say we're hearing over and over again. We do studies, national studies in schools, in high schools, something called the Youth Risk Behavior Survey done by the CDC every 2 years. And in their most recent data, the percentage of high schoolers who smoke every day is down to 2.3%. That's incredible that it's so low. That is the lowest rate following a long decline in 24 years. So that's the good news. It's due to a lot of different things, policy, education. But 41% of high schoolers have tried using e-cigarettes, vaping, hookahs, and we don't know what lies ahead with that. We really need to know. There should be an imperative, because just changing to a different type of a tobacco product was not the gain we wanted to make. The next thing, to add to what you said, or somebody said, fitness, obesity. Over the last 24 years, there's been a steady increase in obesity. We know there's been declines from those same studies in the quality of nutrition that kids choose and the amount of fitness that they get. The only thing that we've developed well among teens are their thumbs. So the majority of teens spend up to 3 hours a day seated on an electronic device, and I have twin 15-year-olds, and it's a challenge for kids to break that addiction. And then the other thing is that we know about obesity is that the earlier you become obese, the greater health risks you have. So preventing obesity during the teenage years is going to give us a lot of advantage to some of the adult diseases that people get. So viruses and cancer, it's a biggie. So take, for example, the HIV virus. When a person contracts HIV, they can become a host to a lot of other cancers because their immune system can become challenged over time. We can prevent a lot of those cancers through using something called PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis. There's very limited use right now, but individuals who are daily at a risk for HIV can go on a once-a-day medicine, and this has been shown to be incredibly effective at decreasing the risk for HIV. So we need to think about that and educate people more about it. Our biggest target, as you've heard, and hopefully you'll continue to hear, is the virus, the human papillomavirus. There are 150 different types of HPV. You know, the kinds you get on your finger, the plantar warts you get from the gym. Of those, 40 are spread through intimate contact, and 12 cause cancer. So there's quite a number of those out there, and in our lifetime, 50% of us will come in contact with HPV. Not all of us will get cancer, but 50% will come in contact with one of those 12 deadly vaccines. Now, intimate contact is important to talk about. For those of you that are older, you remember prom night, finding a quiet road, making out, groping, all the kinds of things you would do that I'm sure none of you do anymore. So you don't have to have intercourse. In fact, we know that there have been 38 studies done that showed 50% of virgins have contracted HPV. So you do not have to have traditional intercourse to get exposed to it. So there's 30,000 HPV cancers a year, 30,000. 10,000 of them are cervical cancer, which only women get. 9,000 of them are head and neck. Most of those are among men. And they estimate in the next 5 years, the head and neck cancers will exceed the cervical cancers. The HPV vaccine has been around since 2006 for girls, 2011 for boys. It's a 3-part series, unless you're under 15. So now we can give only 2 vaccines if you're under 15. We know the sooner you get that vaccine, the younger you are, the greater the antibody response. So we know if you're getting it under the age of 15, you're going to have at least a 2-fold increase in your ability to fight off the HPV vaccine. So I think it's very important for families and providers to know. Right now, the #1 state in initiating this vaccine is Rhode Island. The state with the lowest rates of initiation is Kansas, but we only have a 30 to 60% completion rate for that vaccine. If you don't complete the series, your protection is not as good. So that's the word we have to get out to people. So I just want to say cancer prevention is important in all ages, but we have this unique opportunity with teenagers to really make a huge difference. Thank you.